And we are live. What's good, people? It's your man, DL Saint. Welcome to the Downrange Podcast, y'all. Downrange, where we only talk, we go in hard, and we talk about politics. What's good, Downrange? So shout out to Black Man Unfiltered. Kind of watch what he's doing with the Black Man Unfiltered network. I don't plan to go as deep as he does because he has a legit network with so many different shows. But I did want to splinter off and talk about political stuff, especially with us going into the 2024 season. I know it's 2 years away, but Donald Trump's already announced, so that officially kicks it off. And most people wait. Most people don't announce so early, but we all know that Trump has some outstanding legal issues, criminal issues, and pretty much everyone knows an indictment is coming. Again, it might already be there. It might be a sealed indictment, but it's definitely an indictment coming. You know what I mean? So I understand why he would announce right away, just to kind of, it's like, well, I'm already running. So, you guys, if you indict me, it's going to be a problem, might mess up the election. Maybe that's what they're thinking. And then also he wants to raise money. He's going to need money for his legal fund. And people, when you raise money, when you fundraise, you would think that all the money have to go to your campaign. It does not. It does not have to go to the campaign. So he's definitely going to, do everything he can to raise money so he can use that money for his legal fund. So anyway, Downrange Podcast. Whenever y'all see, where is it at? This thing right here. That's when you know it's Downrange. That's what we're going to be doing. So it's not going to be any RP talk, blue pill talk. It's not going to be any sexual marketplace talk. None of that. It's gonna be straight politics when you see that. And I'm doing that. There's a lot of people who they rock with the platform, but they're not necessarily crazy about, like the relationship stuff, the RP, the BP, like the red pill, the blue pill, the banana pill, all that stuff, intersexual dating dynamics, and all that. Some people just don't want to hear it. But they might like the political stuff. So that's what we're gonna do. So welcome, thanks for coming through. I see brother Mike's in the house. What's good, fam? What's good? Welcome. And you notice right away that the link's already in. I'll be dropping a link periodically as we go, depending on how many people leave comments, because I couldn't figure out how to pin it to the top. Not yet. Still got a lot. I still got a lot to learn about YouTube and StreamYard, and I'm gonna figure it all out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get intros. I'm gonna have to get new banners. There's a lot of work that needs to be done going into 2023, but we're going to get it all done. As you know, we're growing. We're down to 784 public view hours is all we need to be monetized now. We're getting there. We're getting there fast. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. But yeah, like the links in there. Anyone in this conversation, y'all want to jump up. Listen, you don't have to. When we bring you up, you don't have to have your cam on, but when you're in the back chat, I do need to see you. I'm gonna ask you to do stuff for me. You know what I mean? Like, wave or whatever, do something so I know it's you, not a troll, not a bot, all that good stuff. So yeah, but then after that, if you don't want to cam up, don't. If you do want to cam up, by all means, we love seeing you. So you see that in there. Brother Dinosaur in the house. What's good, fam? I love you, my brother DL. But GOP is drunk on Kool-Aid right now. Clown Trump will say drink when he is about to go to the slam, right? You mean the slammer. I feel you, bro. And welcome, brother. I appreciate the love, man. You be rocking with me. Thank you so much. And I agree. Republican Party is definitely at a crossroads. That midterm election should have been a wake-up call. You talk about that should have been one of the biggest red waves ever in American history, and it wasn't, right? And Donald Trump and the Trumpers, the election deniers, the January 6 people, all that, that was a problem. So, because the Democrats are doing a horrible job, in my opinion, right now, and we can't get rid of them. So I'm pretty sure that the Republicans are looking at that, and that's what we're going to talk about. And as you can see, we were early in the chat, just chopping it up back and forth. Let's see, brother Dino. Trump has been on a fundraising drive since the election, rapidly bringing in an astonishing $200 million or more on the back of his false claims that the vote was rigged. Absolutely. He's going to need every dime for his defense. He has a serious problem with those papers. I don't know why he took those documents. I don't know why he did that, but they're going to come for him hard. He's going to need every dime for his defense. So, you know, you're going to see a lot of that money. You understand, like, Trump has been sitting on money even going into that midterm election, and a lot of Republicans were asking, why weren't you, you know, releasing some of those funds to help some of these candidates out? His people, like the Trumpers, they were like, they needed the help. The people who got devastated could have used some money in those elections, and Trump didn't do it. And you got Republicans who are asking those questions. So, like, you know, Trump just kind of put himself in it. I mean, yes, he does have a lot of followers. Yes, there are a lot of Trumpers out there. Trust me, I know I'm in Central Florida, but I'll tell you this. I'm not seeing Trump flags like we used to when I first moved down here. I'm not seeing the 2024, you know, bumper stickers and flags and banners. People aren't crazy about it right now. The hardcore folks who are out there, the hardcore Trumpers, they don't have a lot of money, right? They don't. You need money, period. That's the bottom line. You need money. They don't have the money. They might be vocal. They may be out there standing on street corners, which I'm not seeing anymore, but, you know, used to see all the time. But they don't have the money needed to run, you know, a national election to run for president. You need to get that money from the big time donors, the Republican donors. And right now, they're not keen on Trump at all. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Brother Michael, when they want to come for you, they will. Yeah, absolutely. Like, the feds don't play, bro. They take their time. You got the Department of Justice doing what they got to do. This is news. It's never happened before. So, of course, they're going to really take their time, do it right. I mean, they're coming for a former president of the United States. Like, this is what's going on now is unprecedented. And, you know, trust me, they don't want to have to deal with it, but they're going to deal with it. They have to. They're going to deal with it. But like dealing with Trump, hey, like I said, he's devastated the Republican Party. So, and y'all saw the thumbnail. Can Liz Cheney rescue the Republican Party? Is she the answer? Is it Liz or is it someone else? Or will they eventually come back to rally for Trump? That's what we're going to talk about. My dude Jay Swans sent me some articles, and I've been looking at them. I'm like, you know what? And again, this is why we're going to do Downrange. At least once a week, there's going to be a Downrange episode where we're just talking politics. 80% of the time when me and Jay Swans are talking offline, you know what I mean? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about, you know, political struggles for some. You know, we talk about, you know, like the political game in general and what's going on. That's what we talk about. So at least once a week, we're going to try to do that. We got Miss AKA Ladies in the House. What's good, sis? Hello to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So like Liz Cheney, it is really early, guys. So what we're going to talk about now, it is so early. It's almost silly to talk about it, but we're gonna we're gonna have this talk. Again, once a big candidate like the Donald Trump announces, that kicks off the political season. Like the election is on. Right now, we got to figure out who else is going to do it, but there's no question as to, you know, what Donald Trump is going to do, and that was definitely the elephant in the room. So, Jay Swan sent me an article that we're not going to read the whole thing, but the headline is just like really good, crazy, right? Because I like Liz Cheney. New polls show Liz Cheney ahead of Ted Cruz in the 2024 support. Like, so this is, and no need to read the whole article, but it was a poll that I wanted to show you guys. And this is just, again, we're so far out. Like, Liz hasn't announced. You know what I mean? I don't think Cruz, no one's announced but Trump. So, but these are like the next year and a half, I guess next year or so, we're going to be talking about who is going to run. You know what I mean? You know, who is going to announce, you know what I mean? Who could possibly win? That's what we're going to be talking about. Sister Follows in the house. What's good, love? Welcome. Good to see you. Miss AKA Lady, looking forward to Downrange Podcast. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing, this is going to be politics only. There's going to be very, very rare overlap. I'm working on a show now about feminism, first, second, and third wave. I'm in the, you talking about going down a rabbit hole. I am in the weeds on this one, trying to figure it out. And I'm going to be talking about it on this platform, but there will be some overlap because the whole, you know, toxic masculinity and femininity thing and you know, feminism crosses over into the relationship world. So there'll be two separate shows. There'll be a show here when we're talking about it. What is it? How it came to be? What are the different waves and all that kind of stuff? Like, we just kind of break it down. And then there'll be another show on I Really Want to Know podcast when we're talking about how that affects the dating world that we're in today. So that'll be the only overlap that I can see with this. So let's get back to it. So this poll, I guess they asked a bunch of Republicans, you know, registered Republicans, Republicans who vote, who would be most likely to vote for in the Republican primary or caucus in 2024. So they want to know, who would you be most likely to vote for? Donald Trump, of course, 55.1%. That's, you know, again, we're 2 years out. Ron DeSantis is in second, 24.8%. Now we get into the, you know what I mean? Like, we get to the bottom few. Mike Pence, 7.8%. That's pretty high. I didn't think it would be actually that high. And this is a Newsmax poll, and I forget where they get it from, what poll they take this information from. You got Liz Cheney at 3.6%, which is above Ted Cruz at 3.4%. That's telling right there. And you got Nikki Haley at 2.5%. Again, I can't stress enough how far we are out. You know what I mean, from this election. But off rip, Liz Cheney is above Ted Cruz. That is big. And I'm not going to lie, I can see her overtaking Mike Pence. Right? I can just see that before any groundbreaking crazy announcement happens or what anything else. I can see Liz Cheney surpassing Mike Pence in the polls within the next, you know, 90 days or so. I could see that. And depending on what poll you look at. So, but that's pretty big. You know what I mean? Again, we're not going to read the whole article. I mean, it's just basically them talking like, wow, that's, you know, Ted Cruz, you know, he's been around, he's established, he's one of those guys. But Liz Cheney, who was run out of office by pretty much the Trumpers. I mean, let's keep it 100. Like, it, you know, she was run out by the Republicans, and, you know, and look where she is, like number 4 in a race for potential candidates on the Republican side. So yeah, I thought that was telling. I'm like, all right, you know, that's my girl. Go Liz. I want to see her get there. Not gonna lie. Miss AKA lady. So the podcast isn't going to talk politics anymore. So no, like the I Really Want to Know podcast is gonna be out talking about pretty much everything else, like tech and what's going on with, like, maybe you know, I'll talk about the housing market, like when we talk about technical stuff. So this downrange podcast is only going to be political. So if you see that stamp that's up here right now, this thing right here, there it is. If you see that stamp and it says downrange or it says downrange, like you'll see that stamp on the thumbnail, 100% politics. We're not going to be talking about anything other than politics on that particular episode. If you don't see that stamp, then we're just doing regular I Really Want to Know podcast stuff. And then we'll be talking about pretty much anything. I'm working on a show on anime. I'm working on a show on professional gamers, right? I'm working on a show now, submarines. I'm still trying to get some people to get back to me on that. So on I Really Want to Know podcast, you're going to see everything else. We're still working on a show on, weapons, best home defense weapons. So everything except politics will be I Really Want to Know. This downrange podcast will be stuff like we're talking about here. We'll be talking only politics. So yeah, and appreciate the questions. And, I know it might be a little confusing, but once we get into it, you'll see. Just look for that step. If you see downrange, then you know it's going to be politics only. If you don't see that stamp, that means we're going to be talking about who knows what. We'll be talking about anything and everything. So, Brother Dinosaur, spineless Ted Cruz mother doesn't like Ted Cruz. Wow. Trump said Ted's wife was ugly and his father killed JFK, and Ted's still kissing the ring. Absolutely right. And all that is going to come back, to bite him. You talk about spineless, I'm sorry, bro. You can only go so far. You start saying certain things to a man. Hey, man, I'm gonna come see you. Cameras on or off, it don't matter. Like, we got problems, right? But his thing is politics first for him, and he doesn't care. There's a lot of people out there because, again, it's all about the money, right? So he dealt with that. He accepted all that. Whereas Liz Cheney was like, no, she drew the line January 6th. She was like, no, absolutely not. This is not the way. And it cost her seat. However, because she has a backbone, because she has spine, because she truly cares about America, you can see that she is definitely in the hunt. And here we are 2 years out, and she's definitely in the hunt. So, and going down the road, she may do some damage. She may do some damage. So, Sir Hale Speaks in the house. What's good, brother? Sir Hale, welcome. Good to see you. Salute to you. Talking a little bit of politics over here, man. Thanks for popping in. I do appreciate it. I know how busy you are. You boys down in Texas be working hard, man. I gotta tell you, I might tip my hat if I had one. I'd be tipping my hat to you. So I get that, and I'm like, well, we're talking about who's going to run on the Republican side. Let's talk about the other side. Let's talk about the full picture, like who may possibly run in this upcoming election. I gotta tell you, man, I am not excited about what's going on the Democratic side. Real talk. Like real talk. So yeah, and this is from people online. I guess it's people.com. And they're talking about politics. Who was running for president in 2024? Confirmed and rumored Republican and Democratic candidates. Now, again, we're way early, but just to float some names out there. Let's see what's going on. Of course, Joe Biden. Right. Current president, this is the guy who could beat Donald Trump. That's why he's president right now. It's not that he's in office because people were crazy about him. It's not because he's in office because of his record. And he's been in D.C. a very long time. No, he won, in my opinion. He's president today because that was the guy that could beat Donald Trump, and he beat him. It was a close race, but, he beat him. And, and by close, it was no, landslide either way, but they got a lot of people came out to vote. His vote wasn't necessarily, yay, go Joe Biden. His vote was a vote against Donald Trump, right? So he captured, a lot of Democrats came out, a lot of young folks came out, more than normal. And then, of course, he captured the independent vote. So, and he caught some Republicans as well. There were some Republicans who voted Democrat. They actually, crossed the line, and there was a lot of Republicans who stayed home, didn't vote at all. So, Joe Biden, I am shocked that he's even considering a run. I mean, because I ain't gonna lie to you, he's not there. He's just too old. I mean, it is what it is. When we get old, we kind of, we lose certain things. He's lost it, in my opinion. He's definitely lost it. I mean, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know if there's medications involved. I don't know if he's been diagnosed with anything and they're just keeping it away from the public, but it's scary watching him. You know what I mean? Maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago, it'd have been great. But now it's scary. It's scary. You know what I mean? So Biden, we got Joe Biden, and it talks about like his age as a Democrat. You know what I mean? Less than 2 months after his 2021 inauguration, President Joe Biden announced his intention to run for re-election, which is crazy. He was in for 2 months. He's like, I'm gonna run for re-election. But when he was on the campaign trail, he was alluding to, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just here to stop Trump. I just wanted to get his 4 years. And as soon as he got into office, bam, 60 days later, nope, I'm gonna run for re-election. I'm not crazy about this. You have Kamala Harris. Like, if he does run, is he gonna use her as a running mate? Is she, very unpopular? Kamala is very unpopular. So we'll see. We'll see. You know what I mean? Of course, Donald Trump, 76-year-old Republican. You know what I mean? He was Democrat longer than he was Republican. Ask anybody from New York. Like, this dude. We know what time it is. We know what he's doing. Twice impeached, had a mob of supporters to storm the U.S. Capitol, and people, refer to that as the insurrection, January 6th. Members of his own party turned against him long before he became president. There was that movement, Never Trumpers, and there's another movement coming up again, led by some prominent Republicans. We'll do an episode about that next week. Shocking allegations about his conduct. You heard what he said, grabbing by the you know what, and that's when he was running for office. And since he's been in office, the stuff that was going on, there's still an investigation to this day, up to and including those documents that he took. Multiple criminal investigations, yes, Still has to deal with the district. Southern District of New York is still gunning for him. The state of Georgia is gunning for him. There is a lot going on, but he's running. Campaigning for far-right candidates. I mean, it is what it is. Formally declared his candidacy. I mean, yeah, he formally declared already. So that was November 15th of this year. And we got Stacey Abrams. Man, she keeps popping up, doesn't she? Like, Stacey can't seem to win an election, but the Democrats love her. I don't understand. I don't understand. Governor, senator, and I guess, okay, well, let's go make a run for president. It costs a lot of money to just keep losing like that. And it's, I mean, but all right, this is the people. They got Stacey out there. 48 years old, Democrat, People's 2021 Women Changing the World. She got that award, helping turn Georgia blue in the 2020 elections. Yes, but didn't win that election. Planned to be the governor's mansion until at least 2028 and lost that election. You know what I mean? So that is what it is. She's aggressive. I give her that. You know what I mean? She's doing her thing. Pete Buttigieg. You know what I mean? A lot of Democrats are talking about him. He's 40 years old. He's Democrat. He's a part of the LGBTQ plus community. I believe he's married, has a husband. Just off the top, I'm not sure if America is ready for that. I just don't know. This is one of those things. I'm not sure. Very competent politician. People talked about his hometown, and I believe he was mayor, and like how he was running, how he ran that office. There's a lot of people who, they weren't fans, but he ran. He was able to mount a pretty good primary run and became one of the sweethearts of the Democratic Party. And he's on Biden's cabinet now as a part of his cabinet. So, but that's him, age 40, Democrat, unknown to the world only a few years ago. The former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, quickly entered the convention when he announced plans to run for president in 2020. Pete Buttigieg placed fifth in the primaries after dropping out of the race. So, he, like I said, that was a good showing. He made fifth. Basically with people who don't know you. He's now Secretary of Transportation for the Biden administration. Okay, so he's in the cabinet. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's the first openly gay presidential candidate, and would have been the first openly gay president. So I don't know if he was the first openly gay candidate, probably not, but he would have been the first openly gay president had he won. Liz Cheney, they got her number 5 on their list, and that's my favorite. My favorite pick to win is Liz Cheney. I am definitely a fan. I'll just leave it there. I'm definitely a fan. So you got Liz Cheney, 56 years old, Republican. Been a Republican her whole life, comes from a very, very, very established Republican family, an American family. Y'all know what time it is. You know what I mean? Her people was vice president. You know what it is. Daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney. Right. One of 10 Republicans to vote in favor of impeaching Donald Trump. And this is what cost her seat. But as you can see, she's willing to put America in the Constitution first. No one is above the law. No one. Right. So shows right there that she has courage. Voted to remove. She was voted to remove her as chairman of the party's House caucus. So when she did that, when she voted for impeaching, former President Trump, a move that quickly cost her the title of the third-ranking House Republican after representatives voted to remove her as chairman of the party's House caucus. Like I said, she's a very established Republican. She was doing her business, doing the people's business, doing America's business. She got a backbone and it cost her. Right? So, since 2021, Cheney has repeatedly doubled down on her opposition of Trump, even vice chairing the House committee. And that was to look into January 6th. And she vice chaired that. she's basically, she drew a line in the sand. And she's like, this is what it is. We can't have individuals acting like this. And again, it cost her seat. She lost her uphill battle to re-election, as we've been talking about, to a Trump-backed candidate. I mean, it is what it is. And it's like, while Cheney has not formally revealed plans to run for president in 2024, she has repeatedly entertained the idea. And after losing her bid for another term in the House over the summer, she would be making a decision on her future plans. And she did say that. So you best believe she's looking at it. They're figuring it out. And I think she should run. So you have Ted Cruz, senator out of Texas. And like brother Dino Dinosaur was saying, like, he's pretty much spineless, empty suit. He'll do and say whatever Republicans want him to do, in particular, Donald Trump. And more importantly, he'll let, people like Trump say and do anything to him. He caught some heat when there was a bad winter storm in Texas, and the power went out. It was really bad some years back. And he took his family on it and left and went to Mexico during this crisis in his state, only to come back later and blame his family. He tried to kind of throw his own family under the bus. It's like, well, it was their fault that I had to go there and I wasn't here when I was needed. Again, shouldn't have done that. 51-year-old Republican out of Texas, senator. I'm not sure how many terms he's been in office, at least 2. He's all about, let me see. So like beer bug mandates and gun rights. So, I mean, just typical middle of the road, just, gonna say what you're supposed to say. I'm all about the gun rights and like that beer bug stuff. The way they handled that was wrong. Both parties. Trump was in office when that all popped off. You know what I mean? And then Biden came in, didn't make it any better. But yeah, the way they were making, the whole way that they handled that was just bad. I understand why they did it. But the fact that they won't go back and assess how they did it and what they did and take responsibility for some of the bad calls that were made, I don't like that. And that goes for Republicans and the Democrats, because they both know that it was plenty of blame to go around. There's plenty of blame. And so yeah, that's Cruz. Y'all pretty much know about Cruz. Ron DeSantis, he's pretty much the darling of the Republican Party right now. Easily got a second term as governor down here in Florida. I'm on record as saying that, I gave him all credit due for the way he handled Hurricane Ian. I got to give it to him. He did what he was supposed to do. He was leading. And Jay Swanson and I we disagree. Like, we disagree on it, you know what I mean? And we actually got into it on an episode we had about Liz Cheney, and I had to remove the episode because I put some Dave Chappelle stuff on there and they got blocked, so I just took it down. And that's why I decided to do this episode now, because it kind of makes up for that. But he and I don't see eye, and I'm talking about Jay Swans, and I do not see eye to eye on Ron DeSantis. But I will say this: if he can manage to answer for some key mistakes he made as governor, that don't say gay thing in Orlando, what he did with those folks, there's a lot of people in Orlando mad with the handling of Disney and those contracts, because people's taxes have gone up because of it. So some people upset about that. He's said a lot and done a lot, that's on record that could come back to bite him, like acting, Trump-like when dealing with media, making claims and all this other kind of stuff. He's done some bad things. I remember in his first campaign, he caught some heat for this robocall that went out about his opponent, who happened to be an African-American man. Turns out that guy was gay as well. And, but it had nothing to do with what I'm telling you now. But there were like some bongos being played in the background, and people got real mad at the robocall, saying that it was very racist. But that's kind of gone away. So I don't, it didn't really catch a lot of backlash, too much backlash. He won the election anyway. It was a close race. But the big thing is he's going to have to answer for is what he was doing with flying undocumented folks from Texas through Florida into Massachusetts. That's going to be a problem. There may have been some laws broken, some federal laws broken, maybe even some state laws. Like he might have been outside of his mandate as governor to do what he did. Questions as to where the money came to do that, where the money come from, who got the money to charter these airplanes and fly these people. So he's gonna have to deal with that, moving forward. Like he's if I were him, I would just sit back, take care of business as governor, and I would forget about 2024, maybe think about 2028 if I were DeSantis. But right now, he is the Republican darling. They love this guy. Like I said, he did a good job. Let me catch up with the chat. Sister Follow. Oh, just saying hello to brother Sir Hell Speaks. Miss AKA Lady, Biden didn't want the job in the first go around. Get somebody else. Yeah, the problem is who? And we're looking at some of the people that are being mentioned. Miss AKA Lady, I respect STACEY, but if I lost 2 major elections, I wouldn't spend the money on a presidential campaign unless I'm just trying to use my influence to sway the votes. I agree with you. 2-time loser. I'm sorry, you can't do it. You know what I mean? Do something else within the party. Do something else. But it's 2-time loser. Now we want to put you on a national level? Nah. You know what I mean? Again, Sir Hell Speaks in the house. Thanks for coming through, brother. Brother Dinosaur. Brother DL, so many Americans don't know Biden has a speech impediment. I didn't know that too. He stutters and has not aged well. Life has knocked him down many times. I feel you. But again, I understand stuttering, the speech impediment. I understand that. I understand, having a rough life or getting knocked down and all that kind of stuff. I understand that. But there are times when he's speaking. It has nothing to do with his speech. He gets lost, completely lost. Now, it's a tough job being president. You don't get a lot of sleep. You know what I mean? Look at all the presidents who went in fairly young. They all came out gray hair. You get more wrinkles. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of pressure on that office. And it ain't just about America. It's about the entire world. And you look at what's going on with China. You look at what's going on with North Korea. You look at what's going on with the Middle East. Add to that Ukraine. There's a lot, right? That is a lot. Not just the stuff that we know about, right? So I don't know, bro. I think he might just be too old. I think he might have missed his opportunity to be president when he would, when he was at his sharpest. I think he's over the hill. It is what it is. And then you got to understand too, a lot of it, man. It's I hate to say it, but it's how you look. You know what I mean? How do you look when you're out here? You know what I mean? It is what it is. So, and I'm not even talking about falling off the bike and falling up the stairs and all that kind of stuff. I'm not even talking about none of that stuff. I do worry if he's competent. I really do. How sharp is his mind? So that's my thing on that. Sister Follow. I think that's at Miss AKA Lady. Agreed. She needs to be behind the scenes. Yes, she could do a lot behind the scenes. There's so much to do. You know what I mean? As a prominent Democrat, it's, she can really be a force for the Democratic Party, but maybe she needs to be behind the scenes. Everyone can't be in the limelight. Everyone can't be the CEO, right? Some people you gotta support. You gotta be there and support. So that's what it is. You know what I mean? Brother Dino, you lost 700 Texas citizens in that ice storm. RIP. I saw a man froze to death in his bed. Yes. Absolutely. And he wasn't there. A senator of that state, one of the 2 senators of that state, he fled. He left. I get that. You want to make sure your family is safe. You can take them. You know what I mean? You got your wife and your kids. You can take them, put them on a plane and send them off to do what they got, to safety. And you can stay there and, lead from the front. But he chose not to do that. Oh, we got Brother Mandrell in the house. You know what I mean? This is about to get spicy, y'all. This is about to get spicy, Brother Michael. Like, I miss y'all. You know what I mean? What's good, Airborne? How you doing, bro?
What's going on, DL? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Let me give you a horn blast.
That's right,
just catching up. Right. Yeah, just catching up with the chat, man, and just kind of run through these, potential candidates for the 2024 election. I mean, it's because Trump, came out right away and announced so soon, kind of like sparked the season. So I'm like, all right, let's take advantage of it.
Donald Trump doesn't want to be president.
So why is he doing it?
He's not. Donald Trump doesn't want to be president. Listen, it's just like the first time I was telling people, look, Donald Trump doesn't want to be president. Like, you have any idea how much power he'd lose by becoming president? That was a complete accident. He was trying to lose. Notice how close closer it came to election day, the more outrageous the stuff he would say got. He get more and more salacious with the things he said the closer election day came. And then, like, election, I promise you, DL, I promise you, on election night, there was no one on the planet more surprised that Donald Trump won that election than Donald Trump.
I agree with you. I think,
there was no one more surprised.
Here's the thing. I believe this go around is he wants to be president so he can beat these pending charges.
Yeah, there you go. That's the only reason why. He doesn't want to be president. It ain't something he want to do. He kind of has to at this point,
right.
though.
He just doesn't want to get locked up.
Right. He kind of doesn't have a choice.
Got to run the clock out. Like, bro, I just don't want to get locked up. Because, right. I mean, I believe the Supreme Court authorized the release of his tax information, which, you know, Southern District of New York been waiting on that forever, even though they're ready to move forward without it. Now they're going to have it. Everyone can see it. There's a lot of drama coming out behind Trump. And he's always going to have that 15 to 25% of people who are just, you know, hardcore Trumpers. But I think the rest of the party has moved on. But we're going to see.
Well, I think the rest of the party moved on because they see that there's no benefit in backing him anymore. You know, he got a whole bunch of hillbillies who never voted before come down out of those mountains of the Appalachia, you know what I'm saying, and the Rockies to come down and finally vote because they thought that they had a candidate that represents them. You know, it's this old Southern saying that white people say, you know, the Republicans are for the rich, the Democrats are for the niggers. Who's for me?
Told y'all I was about to get spicy. Told y'all, hey, Mandrell don't play around. Hey, get some. You don't play around, baby. You don't play around.
So Trump comes along saying some quasi kind of, but not really bigoted stuff.
There are good people on both sides.
Right. Right. You know what I'm saying? Some quasi kind of, but not really, kind of sort of racist stuff. And bigoted stuff is like, and then they're like, oh, I get it. I get what he's trying to say. He can't say the whole thing because then they'll come after him. So we got to go support him. And that's exactly what they did. They came out. A lot of people who had never voted for before came out and voted for him on that election night. And, you know, that's how he got over. Election night, he was like, God damn it. Hey, that was Trump's reaction. That was Trump's response.
I saw that picture. And like I said, I will never forget that election, those results. I was in London and I flew back election night and I was blown away. I had no idea. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Hillary will win based on everything I've seen so far. I was living in California at the time. It's like my vote really didn't count. You know what I mean? Like it's the darkest blue state in the union. Mm-hmm. But when I came back, I was shocked. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was shocked when I got off that plane. I was brand new America. That's when I got off. It was America.
I wasn't shocked. I was not shocked.
I was. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Why?
I mean, it just at that point, you just, you know, it was like you're looking at the two candidates, you're looking at the Democratic machine. I made the assumption that the Democrats did everything they were supposed to do, but then you found out later maybe they didn't campaign as hard as they could have in certain spots. The fact that the Democrats lost the blue wall, and I could not believe that they didn't go campaign there. You know what I mean? Pennsylvania, Minnesota, you know what I mean? Michigan. They didn't go campaign Wisconsin like they should have. Apparently, according to the talking heads. But no matter what, we lost. We lost to the guy that said grab him by the you know what. You know what I mean? Like you're the first female candidate for the United States of America. You're right there, and this guy said what he said, and all the other stuff that went on, and you still lost. And that's Hillary Clinton's legacy. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and Hillary's problem is that she didn't listen to Bill. Okay, Bill was telling her in her campaign, "Hey, why aren't you over here? Why aren't you over there? Why aren't we working this area here of the map?" You know what I'm saying? He was telling them. Say what you will about Bill Clinton. He is a masterful politician.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Any man that did what he did and got away with it.
What?
Like, yo.
Did you have sexual relations with that woman? Define sex.
Boy. G.
Define sex.
G.
DL. He says this on live television. Define sex.
Define sex. G with it. You know what I mean? And still one of the, top heavy hitters in the Democratic Party, even after all that. So you gotta give him his props. You know what I mean? We got I am the single one in the house. What's good, love? Welcome. That's you. Brother Dino Ron said, don't monkey it up by voting for Gillum. Ooh. Ron picks his voters in Florida. Yeah, man, Florida is Florida, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Did I see that video of Herschel Walker sitting there with Ted Cruz? He had to make the almighty oath to the almighty God. He kept it for them. He didn't keep it for neither or nobody. And that just proved the kind of man he is.
Bro.
What?
Listen, right. Y'all notice I ain't even bring dude up. What? I don't plan on talking about him. That's a separate show. I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting. When is that election? December 6th or 7th or something like that?
Yeah, it's a runoff. How bad of a politician do you have to be till you end up in a runoff against Herschel freaking Walker?
Yeah, thank you to whoever that independent guy was that ran.
A dummy's dummy.
Bro, he might win.
He sounds like Mushmouth from Fat Albert. Helper, the baker, and the busher brought the Bronxes. What are you talking about, Herschel?
Boy, Mushmouth just had a Mushmouth. He was smart. Herschel that boy ain't there. He ain't all there. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? Brother Dino, Biden was the only damn capable of beating Trump. Exactly. And that's the only reason, like Trump's announced, and to me, that's the only reason I can see Biden, going for
how is
re-election
Biden the only one capable of Trump, though? Like, what are the Democrats doing? I'm not disagreeing with Dino. I agree with him. At the time, Biden was the only Democrat capable of beating Trump. But my thing is, how bad is your party, dude? That's the best you got.
It's real bad. When you're looking at Newsom, you're looking at Abrams, right? As you're looking at Biden.
Well, Abrams.
I mean, it's bad.
I mean, yeah, it is. But Abrams, people didn't vote for her because they're afraid that she's going to push a gay agenda. They're afraid of that. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid that she's going to get in there, not do anything about for African Americans per se, but for LGBTQ. You know what I'm saying? And exclusively that demographic. That's what people in Georgia are afraid of with her.
And that says a lot. When Democrats are afraid that you're too far that side. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, okay, you're too liberal. That's the problem with the Democratic Party. Just like the Republican Party was, infiltrated, and and they just been overrun by the far right. The same thing can be said about the Democratic Party. They've been overrun by the far left. So, both parties, I mean, again, Republicans should have been an absolute typhoon.
But the thing is, with the Republicans, where they drop the ball is they don't do anything. And I think the jig is up now. For more so than it ever has been. The jig is up. Neither one of these two parties do anything. They don't actually do much that affects our lives. They really don't.
That's facts.
And so what you got now is that people are seeing through it and they're like, wait a minute. Like, because you got black people looking at Democrats like, wait a minute, hold up. I don't believe you. I don't trust you. And they're looking at Republicans like, well, they're racist, so we can't vote for them. So what do we do?
But
the sad part is, the Republican Party could have had the black vote and the Hispanic vote tied up in a big red bow. Because look at how conservative the black community is. And white people just don't know it. Like, the more white people I talk to, and I talk to them about this, and they're like, really? I said, yes. Black people are hugely Christian conservative.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm
talking about in the 90 percentile. Christian conservative, yes, we're in the 90 percentile when it comes to that, and white people just don't know. So it's like, I'm like, well, you need to tell your Republican people and tell them to stop being racist.
That's nothing, or not. Stop being racist, or stop courting the racist folks. That's a big problem. I mean, it's really hard to come into that tent when at the front of that tent are Nazis, skinheads, and just good old fashioned, Klansmen. But Miss AKA Lady, I am not 1,000% for or against DeSantis. The Democratic Party has shown enough face. Nobody's perfect. Now it's about what can you do for me, and how safe am I and how much can my pockets grow? And that's how everyone should look at it. You know what I mean? It's not team this or that. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, though, vote your wallet and vote, you know what I mean? Vote your views. Vote, you know what I mean? Like, what's best for you and your family. But yeah, and then, like, you know, brother Mike was in there we was talking about Clinton, like top G in America. Yeah, that's where we are right now. Brother Dino, see, Melania Trump has a ghost face shock when he won. Yeah. Donald, WTF, Bernie supporters voted for Trump rather than Hillary. Sadly, you had a little bit of that because of what the Democratic Party did in California. That was disgusting. Bernie did beat Hillary, in my opinion. Bernie took California, but the Dems with their, you know, what do you call it? Their super, I forget what they call those.
Oh, those super PAC
candidate. Yeah, well, they had a super candidate or a super. They got together with the way that the rules are structured, and they were able to pretty much stop the vote. Like, okay, Hillary won, we can stop counting now. I think Bernie took.
Yeah, and that's California. The thing. Bernie should have won, but the Democrats didn't want him. Bernie's going to push for a lot of things that they didn't want. Bernie's going to push for a lot of things that we needed. Universal health care. We can afford it. Yes, we can.
Now we talk like a socialist.
Like a socialist. No, but the thing is,
that's
joking. Something that I know. But for me personally, healthcare is something that should never be put behind a paywall.
Ever.
It should never be like it's healthcare. Why should I pay for your healthcare? Because I'm a human fucking being.
We talking about basic stuff,
and I'm an American. Why don't Americans take care of Americans? I mean, what are you talking about? Then you talk all this patriotic stuff, and it's like, seriously, it is an irrefutable fact that a universal healthcare system works. It's an irrefutable fact now. There's so much data on this that points that you cannot contest it. If you could, I would. But you cannot argue against universal health care.
We need some sort of basic because you need that. You need some sort of basic uniform health care prevention. The thing is this. If you just keep people from getting sick, it's less money than paying for them after they get sick. Because people run to the emergency rooms and that money goes unfunded, and then people get, they go through bankruptcy because they can't afford this and that. But you know what? If you can go out and you can get yourself the proper medical care up front, more likely you're not going to get sick. And that's something we're going to circle back to that here towards the end of this stream, because it does work and we do need it. And everyone's like, oh, that's socialism. No, it's not, bro. That's really taking care of the budget. That's being smart about stuff, man. Let me take care of this so your foot don't fall off because, you know what I mean, you stepped on a rusty nail and you can't go get, you know what I mean, you just can't go and get it taken care of. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Brother Marcus is in the house. What's good? My favorite devil dog. This AKA lady, Clinton locked up half of us. Yes, he did. Then pulled out his sax and serenaded the rest. That was funny. Talking about Arsenio Hall show.
No, wait a minute. Now hold the phone, Miss AKA.
But hold on, but let's finish it up, and then you can respond to it. We didn't wake up to the Clintons until a decade later. The Clintons were getting away clean until Hillary took the lead.
Hi, Marcus.
You know what I mean?
Really? Hi to Marcus is nothing to me, AKA lady. See, you're an AKA. I should expect nothing less than that.
Miss AKA lady, say hi to the man before you start crying. There's nothing uglier than seeing a Green Beret crying on TV.
She's an AKA, so I mean, they act like that.
But did you want to make any comments? Because I see what she was saying about how she came in, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what she's saying, but she said Clinton locked up half of us. No, Clinton didn't do that. That was Joe Biden. It was Joe Biden and the Congressional Black Caucus. Clinton never wanted to sign the 94 crime bill. He said it back then, and he has maintained that position ever since. He said it damn near as he was signing it. But when I think I remember like a year later after he signed it, he said he didn't want to sign that bill. And it was an interview on the news. He said, why'd you sign it bill anyway, Mr. President? He said, no such thing as a free lunch. He was pigeonholed and forced into signing that bill to get a lot of other things approved. So Bill Clinton, and here's who I say Joe Biden did, because Joe Biden wrote the thing. He authored it. The 94 crime bill. He also authored those crack laws in '86 that locked up half of us. The crack law was 86. Then he wrote, and then Joe Biden wrote the 94 crime bill. And whenever anyone asked Joe Biden, Mr. President, Mr. Joe Biden, what about that crime bill and the crack laws you wrote? Well, they were approved by the Congressional Black Caucus. He throws it right back on black people.
Yeah.
He never takes accountability for it. Even Rush Limbaugh, a Republican, says that was a mistake.
Yeah,
he says if he could go back and not do it, he would. Rush Limbaugh, not Rush Limbaugh, but Newt Gingrich. That's who it was. Newt Gingrich says that. Yeah, I was like, and that's a Republican admitting that those crime bills were a mistake on camera.
You look at the cocaine, the rock cocaine versus the powder cocaine. That right there, if that was geared for, pretty much the black community, but it caught all the poor communities, you know what I mean? Because crack was everywhere. And you look at the super predator thing, just those two things alone locked up a lot of brothers, you know what I mean, and sisters. So, and that's what we're talking about. You can't run away from it. And Biden points at the Black Caucus, like, well, they told me to do it, which again,
it's like, and all the Congressional Black Caucus are like, no, look now, we some house niggas, we admit that, but we ain't go that far with it.
Oh no!
Now wait, now, master, you can't put that much on us. Now we didn't tell you to do it. You wrote it and told us, hey, approve this, and we did what you told us to do.
Yeah, we just stood behind you.
Right. That's all the Congressional Black Caucus did. They stood behind that nonsense.
And like you said, like when you say people like Clinton and Newt Gingrich are like, yo, looking back on it, like that was bad. Again, they got caught up in with the herd, and we got to do something. Which is happening right now. The same thing is happening right now. But
the only one who was speaking out against it was Clinton. Before he signed it, he said, "No, go back and do it again. Rejigger this thing. This ain't. You know what this is gonna do? You know what's gonna happen because of this?
I wish he
go back and start again. He had them revise it like 3 or 4 times.
I wonder why he just didn't veto it and then make them override him. That way, his hands would have been clean. Just veto it, and then they would have overrode him, and then it'd have been okay.
Because then his president, they came as bad as they came after him. It would have been way worse. And plus, there's a lot of stuff he wanted to get. Because remember, when Clinton got in office, because of his policy specifically during his presidency, like this is the first president I know of that put policies in, and you had immediate change. You could quit your job today, and in 10 minutes, get a job paying you more money. You can just walk off a job and get a better one in 10 minutes. Like it was insane. The money flowed. Economy boomed.
It did. But NAFTA was a bad thing.
Under Clinton.
And that's not to say that everything he did was perfect. I mean, NAFTA was bad.
NAFTA was horrible. Yeah, I admit that.
Yeah, but you got to get credit where credit is due. There was a balanced budget. You know what I mean? Like you said, there was unemployment numbers were low. Interest rates were no one was talking about interest rates. It was whatever. More Americans were buying homes. Wall Street was going gangbusters. All this stuff was going really good, even though he was doing what he was doing in the White House. You know what I mean?
That, but hey, he ain't the first president to do that. Come on.
I'm just saying, if that's what it takes to get all those good things, I think we should be going.
Yeah,
here you go.
Hey.
Here's your chubby chick. Here you go.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if that's what it takes to get all this good stuff. Like it was I don't know how old Miss AKA lady is, but listen, if you were around at that time in the 90s, like I graduated high school in 96, right? And listen, gas is like $5 in a tank. If $5, man, if you put $5 of gas in your car, you had a lot of gas.
Yeah, all you needed was $5. Gallon.
Right. Remember, all you needed was $5. You get damn near anywhere.
Hey, $5 in a Honda Accord, bro. You was good for a week. Like,
yeah,
was good for a week. Think I'm
$5
playing.
in a ticket. Yeah, I mean, there was nothing to complain about.
Nothing to complain about, brother Marcus.
$5 for a gallon of gas was unheard of, unimaginable under Clinton presidency.
Yeah, ain't gonna happen now, boy. I just filled up and I just put almost $90 in there, bro. Like $4.06 out here in Central Florida, $4.06 a gallon. But I came from California, so it's still way cheaper. I think California is like $6.50 a gallon. Premium. Talking about premium. But yeah, brother Marcus, in the last election, people disliked and disdain for Trump is why they voted for Biden, not because it was Biden. They settled for him. But look at what, look at what climate of the economy is now, and crazy shit on the news. I agree with you. Like we said at the top of this show, Biden was the guy who could beat Trump. However, you look at where we are now. That's because of all that stimmy money. That's because of the way that they handled or mishandled the beer bug epidemic. You know what I mean? That's what we're dealing with now. And not just that. We've always been printing money, going all the way back to the last housing crisis, all these bailouts. All it is now, they kicked the can down the road as far as they could until they kicked the can and hit a wall, and it hit them right back in the face. And it took a strong Fed chair to say, all right, now we got to do this. So we're going to continue to feel the pain. If they print more money because of this recession, it's only going to extend the pain. You were about to say something, bro?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing a show, just updating people again on this the coming stock market crash. Is it going to be a crash, or is there going to be a Fed pivot? Right? Because on the 14th, they're going to come out with another press conference on the 14th. Now the 13th comes about the 12th or 13th. You'll know if it's going to be a crash or not. Because, bruh.
Yeah.
This ain't it. I mean, I was thinking about doing that because I'm sorry for seeming kind of scatterbrained about it, but a lot just processed through my mind just now. And like this, people, you said it. I've heard you say it several times. It's going to get worse next year. You're absolutely right. This is not a good situation at all.
I ain't seen nothing yet.
Right. I mean, because if they do a Fed, if the Fed does a pivot, that's going to be bad. That's just the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer again. Another situation like that, which we don't need. And if they increase interest rates, that's going to hurt.
They're going to increase. Now, the question is how many basis points?
How much? Yeah, how much? Yeah.
I think this is going to be the least amount on the bump on the interest rate, but it's still going to be a bump. I think that's what's going to happen. They cannot change course now, no matter what. The Fed has to continue. You got to continue to shove this medicine down America's throat because this is what's needed. If you don't do it now, you may not be able to do it later. Brother Dino had a good point. Big Pharma funds GOP. America pays twice as much as Canadians on healthcare. Here's the thing. Big Pharma controls all politicians. Brother, hear me when I tell you this, right? The 1%, Big Pharma and all the rest, they control all of the politicians, man. All the politicians are bought and paid for. If the GOP was the only thing that they owned, they wouldn't be able to get shit through because they have to own the Democrats as well. Think about it. The Democrats just lost. They just lost the House barely, and they still held on to the Senate, which meant they controlled the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. Where's that money coming from? It's coming from people, the 1%ers and the lobbyists like Big Pharma and all the rest. So, brother, I'm here to tell you, they control all of them. That's why you got to take that dark money. Citizens United needs to be overturned, and you need term limits. I'm always talking about that. But, and I got a video we're gonna watch here in a little bit. There's a couple things I wanted to turn back to. Let me. Brother Marcus, Trump 2024. Bro, the Democrats would love to see Trump. The Democrats would love to see Trump at the top of the ticket. It almost guarantees him a win. In fact, I bet you if you
it still depends on who they run, man. Democrats ain't got nobody. Years ago, back when he was lieutenant governor, I was really hoping that Gavin Newsom would turn out to be right.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst. You talk about an empty suit, Jesus.
But now, no. Governor Newsom. But this is back when he was lieutenant governor, like when he first became lieutenant governor. You know what I'm saying? I listened to the things he said and stuff like that. I said, okay, there's promise with this one. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to watch his career. And I've been watching his career, DL. Not impressed.
No, not at all. He can't lead. He looks good. He's the guy to take great pictures. His hair looks nice. Got just enough gray in it. All of Hollywood loves him. He's a cool kid, right? But he can't lead. He can't lead. California is messed up. He got recalled. He got lucky. He got through that. You know what I mean? He got lucky. He got through that.
Ooh.
Right? People in California are not happy. He reminds me of a cooler, hipper Gray Davis. Gray Davis was another empty suit who got recalled and lost. And that brought us the Terminator. The Governor came along. You know what I mean? So Arnold Schwarzenegger came in and did a pretty decent job. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, actually did a good job, a decent job. Yeah,
did a decent job, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Wasn't the greatest, but decent. Yeah,
could have been far worse.
A small little golf clap. That's what you give Arnold, a small little golf clap. Oh,
a little golf clap. Okay, yeah, all right, that's cool. You know what I mean?
He did all right.
He did better than the guy that he replaced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Black community is the black church.
Yeah, let me see. Crack was destroying the black communities. The black churches wanted the crime bill as Reverend. Yeah, they did, and that's what we were saying.
Here's the thing: one of the biggest demons and adversaries to the black community is the black church.
Right.
They allowed, advocated, and promoted, and pushed their congregation to support a lot of things that really hurt the community. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be smart about stuff. And, you know, there's people out there who wait for opportunities where they can jump in there, right? And they can make these changes. And you're like, well, I didn't really want this, but too late. Everyone is saying do it. Everyone is saying do it. But again, you know, Brother Mandrell made a good point. Clinton was like, I don't know, kind of like Pontius Pilate. You know what I mean? Are y'all sure y'all want Barabbas? Because this dude over here don't seem too bad. Y'all sure this is who y'all want? Yes, we want. Okay, there you go. You know what I mean? So
still say it's a bad idea, but I'll sign it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what Clinton did. I still say it's a bad idea, but I'll sign. I don't want to do it, but all right.
Yeah, and guys, I've been really bad about the chats. I'm sorry. I'm gonna show all the chats. And again, we're almost to the point where we're monetized and we can do super chats. And when that happens, we'll read every super chat, of course. But I mean, it's good. I can't keep up. That means we got a lot of interaction going on here. But I did want to move the show along. And Brother Mandrell, I'm glad you joined me. Because well, you know what? I'll run through some of these potential candidates. I'll get back to that. Let me catch up with the chat real quick. I'll get back to these potential candidates, and then we can move the show along because there's some stuff I want to talk to you about. So we were talking about DeSantis, Nikki Haley. I'm not gonna lie, I like Nikki Haley, bro. I like what she did when she was doing her thing. You know what I mean? Her foreign affairs was on point. You know, she's been quiet. She's been staying out of the fray since, you know, Trump took office, and she kind of, you know what I mean, she backed down. She was just chilling. So I mean, you know, as ambassador to the United Nations, she was, you know what I mean, she was a bulldog. She did what she's supposed to do, and I like that. You know what I mean? So I like Nikki. Then you got Kamala Harris. Not a fan of Kamala. I've never been a fan of Kamala. I probably never will. I like her. When I saw her on the Breakfast Club, I'm like, oh, that's cool. She was at Freak Nick. I was at Freak Nick. Hell, we probably had a drink. I might have been like, hey, she might have been right there like, hey. But you look at her record of what she's done, what she was doing out there, Attorney General in California. I mean, the Democratic Party love her. California politics loves her. But on a national scale, nah, I'm not feeling her. You got any thoughts on those two?
Of the two, I pick Haley. I don't like Kamala. She's a nothing burger. I mean,
empty suit.
Yeah, she does nothing. She doesn't talk. Nothing. I mean, there's nothing to talk about.
Nothing.
Now, what she did in California, I know the Californians, they can't stand her. You know what I'm saying?
No. She threatened to lock parents up if your kids didn't go to school. She didn't do it. She's like, oh, I didn't do it. But the law was there. They could have done that. They're going to lock you up, pick you up from work because your knucklehead kid went to school and left. And it's like, you just can't do stuff like that, bro.
You can't. How you you don't know everything your kids are doing as a parent.
You don't.
So how are you going to hold a parent accountable for that? I mean,
we're going to lock you up for it.
And then she kept people in prison long after their release date was up. They served their time. She kept them in prison because it would be cheap labor.
Hey. So I don't like Kamala Harris. Sounds like we're in agreement on that.
That's kidnapping.
Well, yeah, it's another word. Then you got Josh Hawley, right?
Yeah, there's another word. You're right.
Yeah, you got this dude. And here's the thing, you know, January 6th is definitely is going to be a stone in his shoe. He's not going to be able to shake it. I'm not sure where the Republicans come on him. He's definitely, you know what I mean, a stop the steal guy. He's definitely a Republican guy. Another empty suit. He'll say and do anything to keep his seat. I'm not keen on that guy at all. I don't know who Larry Hogan is, but they're saying he's on the Republican side. He's governor of Maryland. I can't speak on this dude. I don't know anything about his record. I don't know where he stands. I don't know if he's a real Republican. I don't know if he's a Trump guy. I just don't know, and I would have to definitely go and look him up. Right. And then we get into these other people like in the weeds. They got like 20 something like Amy Klobuchar and all those people. This, now you start to get into stuff where they're reaching. Right. So there's one more thing I want to show y'all. And then we're gonna shift gears here. The odds makers. Who are the odds makers saying are gonna run for president? Right.
These guys.
What are the odds? Yeah, man. So here we go. Let's go with the top 5. Let's start with the top 5. Right now, they got DeSantis at 30.8%, and they got Donald Trump at 22.2%. Right now. These dudes, I don't know where they get the information from, but boy, when they set lines, they know what they're doing. This is a pretty big spread right here to have DeSantis out front. Then you got Joe Biden at 20%. Gavin Newsom, they got your man Gavin Newsom up here, 5.9%. So he's way down there.
He ain't my man. I mean, I like I said, that was years ago, DL. Years ago, I thought maybe I said, okay, that one has promise. Not now. No.
And then you got Kamala Harris, who's way down there at 5.3%. And then you got the bottom, we got other people out here like Pete Buttigieg, 3.8%, Mike Pence, 3.4%, Michelle Obama. All these numbers are definitely changed as we get closer to the election. But Michelle's down there, Nikki Haley's down.
Yeah, Michelle doesn't want to be president.
Hell, she don't want nothing to do with that. No. They even got Hillary Clinton in there at 2%. You got The Rock at 2%. So there's not really anyone else worth mentioning. Joe Rogan at 0.5%. You got Tucker Carlson out there at 1%. Candace Owens, 1.2%.
Why would you vote for Candace Owens?
I'm just these. Yeah.
You two yelled at me for that.
I know they did. You about to get me shut down.
They yelled at me for that. They said I was bullying.
Bullying, bro.
Like that's what it was under. Bullying.
They need to put it on something. Well, we got to do something, like, because you kept doing it. I think they let you go with the first 500 times you said it, but you kept going.
Yeah, that's true. The first 500, then I slide. I give them credit. I give them points for that.
Let me see. Brother Dino, California expects a record budget surplus of nearly $100 billion. Governor Gavin Newsom proposes widespread cash rebates, bonuses, healthcare workers, and free transit. I don't know how true that is, bro. The key word in that is expects. People have been flooding out of California. That's going to directly affect the tax base. So I don't know about that, bro. And they have so many unfunded mandates in California now. I know this because I lived in California for 25 years. I lived in LA. I saw what the Democrats were doing to that state. And I'm here to tell you, bro, it's a mess. You know what I mean? Like, there are tons and tons of people that I left. You know what I mean? It was so many people leaving that, I don't know. Like, they'll show you whatever numbers they think is going to make them look good. But when you actually, start to peel back that onion, you'll see that there's a lot of problems in the way that it's a lot of funny math out there, bro. But, maybe, like I said, he has the right look. You know what I mean? You get the right, team behind him. Who knows? But I certainly wouldn't vote for Gavin Newsom. And then Brother Dino was talking about Hogan, like Maryland loves Hogan, old school GOP asking for the party to forget Trump. All right. That sounds like my kind of dude, because y'all know I don't like Trump. So I'm going to have to look into Hogan. We're gearing up. You're going to see more episodes as we get closer and closer to the election. We're really going to get into it. Miss AKA Lady, I'm the type to ask, why are we not hearing from Kamala? No one wants to hear from her, man. She's a drag on the Democratic ticket. Like people do not like Kamala Harris. That's why you're not going to hear from her. I agree she is absent, but she is able to move in a way. I'm interested in how she debuted her in office when she writes her book.
Here's the thing with Kamala, if I may.
Yeah, go right ahead.
It was too soon. Miss AKA lady, the problem with Kamala Harris, it was too soon. She would have been good for this upcoming election coming up. The one that they rushed her through, and that was the problem. She wasn't prepared. I'm not saying she wasn't vetted well. What I mean, she wasn't trained up yet. You know, Kamala Harris, the president, when she was on the Senate Intelligence Committee, right, and she grilled Jeff Sessions, and she like stomped him, like cold in his feet, cold in his tracks, stopped him, and had the guy flustered and sweating. You know, everyone's like, "Oh man, she got Jeff Sessions," but not taking into account that Jeff Sessions is an idiot, a blithering idiot, a knuckle dragger. So she does that to him, and it like made a complete fool, made him make a complete fool of himself. Like, and it was awesome to watch, you know. And when they did that, I knew then. I said they're gonna push her to be president. Like, I called it, and I was watching that live, DL. I called it. They're gonna push her to be president. No kidding. A month later, she's meeting with the former donors and supporters of donors and supporters of Hillary. You know, the people with the money. You know,
1%.
Yeah, the 1%. She was meeting with. They called her into these meetings, and that's how this works. They tapped her and called her, and I said, it's too soon. She's not ready. And now look what happens. It was just too soon for her. I'm not saying she wouldn't have made a good candidate later, but too soon. Now she's been ruined.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, man. So we're looking at who might possibly be running for president. It's going to be a bunch of names of people we haven't even thought about. Like Brother Dino's saying here, like John Ossoff, Democrat senator from Georgia since 2021. He will be the future president. You're going to hear names that you're not familiar with if you're not from those states that are going to be running here, you know, as we get closer. Give it, what, 6 months or so?
Yeah, or if you don't follow politics.
Or if you don't follow politics. So, but let's talk about issues. Yeah, let's talk about issues, bro. Yeah, shame on you if you don't. You can always watch this podcast. You know what I mean? You can watch the news or whatever. But what do you think the top issues will be? And I'll start it off. I got 5 issues that I think they're going to be, and I got 5 issues that I would like to see, but I don't think they're going to do. So I think the top 5 issues that are going to be talking about in this election cycle is going to be guns, taxes, Ukraine, immigration reform, and healthcare. I think those are going to be the 5 top things that we're going to hear in this particular cycle. What are you thinking?
I think healthcare is definitely going to be one, because that's an old faithful. You know what I mean? Can't have an election cycle without bringing up healthcare that you're going to do absolutely nothing about. So, you know, Ukraine, maybe. I think they'll touch on that, but it's just more so to give people an update, and that's it. They're not going to dwell on it. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be a big issue to debate on.
I think it's going to be a huge issue to debate on, because they're like, okay, if America gets involved as president, would you escalate and would you commit American troops to the conflict in Ukraine? I think that's going to be a huge question in every debate.
See, what they do is they go by what most people, they do polls and they ask people what they think. You know what I'm saying? And what they, you know, so what do they think about it? Is it a big issue or is it not? I don't think people really care about what goes on in Ukraine. I think this financial situation here with inflation and the economy is going to be the absolute biggest, because they're going to have to answer for that. Washington is not answering for it. No one has answers. People who don't follow politics nor finances don't know anything. Only thing they know is eggs are $8.
Right. And gas
eggs are $8. Eggs are $8, and this gas is off the chain.
Yeah, you know, Marlin costs $8. Yeah, Marlin Mills are $12. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, all they. Yeah, that's all they know. So I think that's going to be the single biggest issue. They're going to ask candidates how they're going to handle this, how they're going to handle that, and the question is going to be nonsensical because politicians can't really do much. That's the Fed's problem. You know what I'm saying? They have to deal with that. So it seems like now we have a chairman of the Fed chair now, who's willing to put his foot down and keep the printers off. Because if he was going to turn them on, he'd have done it 2 months ago.
Right.
In September. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why I'm inclined to side with you on this one, as far as them just increase the interest rates, go through the hard stuff now and deal with it and be done with it. That's why I agree. Yeah, that's why I agree with you on this issue, as far as my predictions on how they're going to handle it. But yeah, I think like finances, the economy, healthcare, guns. That's another old faithful. That's why they'll touch on that. You know what I'm saying? People are worried about guns, but guns ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
How is it?
So
I'm like, that's a huge deterrent. I explain that to people, DL. Like, what do you mean it's a military deterrent? I'm like, why would you invade a country when every single citizen there has a gun? This is after you deal with the army. Right. This is after you dealt with the army. Let's say you make it through the army. Every citizen out here has a gun. You gonna invade that?
You want to invade a country where there are more guns than people? Nah, we'll pass.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The whole gun control thing, that's a farce. That ain't happening. You know. So
and then my thing is the 5 things that I would like to see be a hot topics in this election cycle is mental health care, which ties directly to guns. Right? People always want to take away guns, but we're not talking about the crazy people with the guns, right? Mental health, national debt, right? And we're talking about not just national debt, but the amount of personal debt that the average American carries. We got a video loaded up here. We're gonna watch some shit about that. I think that should be talked about. Infrastructure, our bridges, our levees, our dams, right? Our roads are all crumbling. It's like we're not keeping up with our own infrastructure, right? So I would like to see, our elected officials talking about that. Education, definitely we should be talking about education because Americans are just dumb. We're not teaching our kids anything, and to the point where our kids are so stupid we can't even get them to use their own weapon systems. They can't even join the military because they're so dumb. And then the final thing, obesity. So it's really healthcare, but an emphasis on obesity. 75% of Americans are either overweight or obese. And of that number, like almost, I think it's between 42 and 46% are clinically obese. This is a problem. I don't care how many guns we got. If the country's full of fat folks, you're gonna lose. You know what I mean? We can't even get people in the military. So that's what I would love to hear. What 5 things would you love to hear in this election cycle?
5 things I'd like to definitely finances. What are you gonna do? Which because I want to hear them. I want to hear them lie. I do like to hear them lie, DL. I ain't gonna lie.
And that's all they are doing.
Yeah, right. I ain't gonna care because, like, again, that's a Fed problem. You as president, what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What are you gonna do? You can't touch it. So, I want to hear their ideas on it, like how they're gonna plan to collab with the Fed and help work the situation out. Also, raise employment. You know what I'm saying? Make money easy. I want to hear things like how they're going to make money easier to obtain, like loans. Because getting a loan now is super hard. And then with interest rates the way they are, it makes no sense to get one.
There ain't no more cheap money, yo. Ain't no more cheap
money. It makes no sense to get one now, business loan or otherwise. So I want to hear that. I want to hear education because I'm with you, sorely needed. What else? Taxes.
And that seems to be, because Miss AKA lady and sister follower is saying taxes and inflation control, economy, inflation should be top priorities. Miss AKA lady was saying, she's like, I spent $16 on 2 cartons of eggs. I froze at the register because I couldn't believe it. If I wasn't easily grossed out, I would owned chickens because that's bread right there. If you got chickens, oh, you killing it. And Brother Dino is saying the experts say to reduce inflation, you need unemployment to increase. Unemployment is definitely on the rise. And like I said, it's going to get worse. We haven't gotten into any of the bad stuff yet, but unemployment is definitely on the rise. Amazon is laying off people at record numbers right now. Tesla is cutting back. You saw what Elon Musk did with Twitter. You look at what's going on in retail, right? All these retailers hired a whole lot of people, and they're cutting back.
Look at Ford. Ford got rid of executive positions, hundreds of them, hundreds of like desk job, top level executive positions. Clean house. Ford did this. I was like, wow, just to shore up that money, because Ford has also stopped making cars, all except the Mustang. They still make the Mustang. and they focus on their trucks because with trucks, the F-150 is their bread and butter. F-250 and 350s for people who own businesses and stuff like that for heavy duty hauling. That's where they make their money with their trucks and the Mustang. So that's the only car they're making is the Mustang now. They've trimmed a lot of fat.
A lot, and that's going across. I mean, you look at retail, you look at Walmart, you look at Target, you look at like the store. I think it's Federated that still owns like Macy's and all these other kind of places. All these places are going to be laying off all these folks, right? And they're going to start counting everyone again, and not because when they need the numbers to say, oh, Americans are working, unemployment is at record lows. They stop counting certain folks. And then when the unemployment starts to rise, then they'll go ahead and they'll count everybody again. So the numbers are going to spike. That's going to continue to put downward pressure on the economy. And it's going to keep us in this bear market, right? And you look at what's going on with crypto. There's so much going on right now. And we're just getting started. For those of y'all who do invest, now is definitely blood in the streets. Now is the time to go out there and get you some really cheap stocks. You know what I mean? Some great companies. Now's the time to kind of do that kind of stuff. This is where millionaires are made. And that's a shout out to Patrick Bet-David. He says that all the time. Sister Follow, obesity ties into more issues than we know, and no one's talking about it. No one is talking about it. Obesity is a huge issue. I do believe that they're going to be talking about obesity, and if that they should be, because it's becoming a national security issue. We can't staff our military because people are too fat and people are not smart. So this if it's not this election cycle, it'll definitely be the next election cycle, in my opinion. Brother Mandrell, how do you think the recession / depression will affect the outcome of this election coming up?
Whoever is in office is going to take the heat of it. They're going to get the blame. That's typically how it happens, even though this started with the pandemic, you know what I mean? And how that was handled. Now, I was not against the stimulus checks. I was not against that. However,
I'll tell you why I was, just real quick. I was against the STEMI program because I was against them forcing people to stay home. But if you force people to stay home, you got to compensate them.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, when it comes to a situation like this, a pandemic, we had to run in the Army, drills where there was a global pandemic or viral outbreak, germ warfare, you know what I'm saying? Biological warfare. We had to train for that. And they throw scenarios at us. And a lot of them seemed like, bruh, let me tell you, they factored for everything, calculated for everything, right? And they just threw it at us. So afterwards, we had to guys who were team leaders, we had to write a report afterwards, right? My shit was like 16 pages long. And at the end of my conclusion, I said that when it comes to the issue of germ or biological warfare, I have found that we are critically unprepared. And I meant, critically in military language, that means you're screwed. You know what I'm saying? If you're critically unprepared, you're screwed. When this came out, I was like, yep, well, we're dead. But when I saw how much it was spread, I was like, yeah, oh yeah, we're dead. People, what do you think? I think we're all goners. You think yes, we're going to die. You know what I mean? Because we have nothing for it. So we are so unprepared that the only thing you could do is make people stay in. We don't have any kind of contingencies planned for it. So the only thing they could do is say, hey, stay home. All businesses shut down, stay home. Now that's where they messed up. A lot of businesses closed down because they didn't compensate them. You just force people to go out of business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
right.
That's where the bulk of the compensation should have gone. And they should have canceled overhead. They should have canceled all utilities on brick and mortar businesses until this whole thing was over, until they were allowed to open up again. And you can't let it accumulate and say, okay, now you owe 3 months worth of power bills or whatever because you weren't paying it for 3 months. Well, no, they were forced to shut down. They weren't using it, and it wasn't their choice. So you should just, them 3 months, these utility companies, they just had to eat it. And that's the way it should have been, in my opinion, of course. Because a lot of good businesses, small business owners, they lost everything because of this.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. My biggest problem is this. Like, they didn't know what they were dealing with. And as always, you know, the White House was slow to move. And this was the Trump White House. And then you had all it because the threat came from Europe. It didn't come from Asia right away because we weren't prepared. And then they went and did what they were going to do. All right. And what really hurts us, I think, as a society, as a country, is the government hasn't gone back and accepted ownership for what they did wrong. So next time when we get the real virus that's really going to hurt us, no one is going to listen. No one is going to listen. You know, you see what it is. And so that's a problem. They need to go back and reassess. Like you said, after action reports are critical. And this is why, instead of finding out what's up with Hunter Biden's laptop and what's up with Russiagate, we should be looking at how we handled this thing. And we should be figuring out a way. Okay, we know another one's coming. Let's come up with the right way to deal with it, to address all the issues that you mentioned. Like, yeah, if we're going to shut everybody down, yeah, we got to pay them. Yeah, we're going to suspend utilities. Yeah, we're going to keep this thing going. I was an air traffic controller, right? They shut down California, but they let people fly. So you got people out here trying to learn how to fly. You got people out here who just feel like going out and flying around. It wasn't essential. You got people sitting right next to each other, shoulder to shoulder in these small airplanes, instructor and a student. You didn't shut this down? When they did that, I'm like, oh, you got me coming to work into this little bitty bubble. I can understand I need to be here to handle military stuff and that sort of thing. But there's no reason that an airport like mine, a small regional airport, general aviation airport like Van Nuys, should have been open just so the 1% could fly around in their jets and these people could learn how to fly airplanes. All that should have been suspended, and it wasn't. And you got me up here getting sick with knuckleheads who refuse to stay home in this little glass bubble. So I'm like, no, they did it all wrong. And the fact that they're not going back and adjusting or reviewing the decisions that were made tells me when it happens again, they're gonna cluster that up too. You know what I mean? It just, I don't like it. And then, like Brother Dino, I see what you said here about the $22 billion that Ford is going to commit to electrifying their fleet. One of the things that whenever I see that, I always laugh because, you know, America had developed an electric car back in the 70s, like 78, 79. America had one. And big oil pushed that thing out of the way. Could you imagine if we had continued to develop with that car that GM had in 1978, I think it was 76, 78, somewhere in there, we would be leading the world right now in electric cars. No one would be able to touch us. But no, you know what I mean? Big money gets in the way. Greed is, I tell you what, greed is crazy. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I see what Ford is doing. It's still Ford. You're not going to be able to compete with, you know what I mean, with the Asian companies, and, you know, they're not going to be able to compete with the Europeans. Certainly not going to be able to compete with the exotics. And right now, I don't know if you guys know this, but the car business, like the automobile business, took a huge hit. Exotic cars especially, but right now, right, give it another 6 months, you're going to see the best deals ever on vehicles. Best deals you've ever seen in your life. If you're looking to buy a car, don't buy one now. Wait 6 months. And I'm going to do an episode on that. There was definitely a bubble in the automotive industry, you know what I mean, when it comes to car sales and this and that. There's so much product out there right now that it is, I mean, I'm seeing cars that have already gone down $10,000 in asking prices. And these are on dealer lots. So I'm talking about certified used cars, high-end European cars, right? We're looking at like mid-size, like Hondas and Toyotas and stuff like that. The prices on those things are coming way down, y'all. I wanted to show you guys something. It kind of goes what we're talking about. Patrick Bet-David was one of my favorite podcasts. If y'all don't check him out, y'all need to check him out. The PBD, Patrick Bet-David podcast. I'm going to show you guys a quick clip. He has Tom Ellsworth on his show. And whenever Brother Tom is on there, I'm here to tell you, man, you get the best of the best. I see you, Devil Dog. I get you in 1 second. We're going to play this clip and I'm going to bring you up. So I just want you guys to check this out. And then Brother Mandrell, I'll come back to you because I got some, I want to get your take on this. But let's check this out. This is the Patrick Bet-David podcast, PBD podcast.
Question for Pat and Tom. We're kind of looking at the micro level, individual to individual.
Yeah.
So Bankrate says, as of September 22, average debt among consumers is $96,000. What happens when you tie this into the national
Does that
debt
include the
clock?
car? Yeah, and that includes car, house, all of
Everything
it.
across the board.
Every number again, Tom?
$96,000.
So $100,000 basically.
Yeah.
That the average American owes in debt.
Correct.
Including the
average-
mortgage.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah,
Across
of
the board,
course.
$100,000.
I'd like to know what it is without the mortgage.
Debt clock has debt per taxpayer at $250,000. So you're now looking at $350,000 essentially in debt in total, right? How does this tie into the national debt? How do we dig ourselves out of this hole? How does this, like, are they non sequiturs? Does it not, like, can you not compare them? What does it do to the dollar? Like, how do we dig
I have
ourselves out
very
of this
strong feelings
giant
about
hole?
this. I have very strong feelings. Tom, you can go for it.
There are two schools of thought in there. And the first is we're set for a massive economic reset someday because you just can't stop this. And the other side is, no, you don't have to worry about it. Deficit spending, you just print. I mean, take a look at what we just did as a nation in printing 40% of the total currency in circulation.
Just the modern monetary theory.
That's right. Modern monetary theory says it really doesn't matter. You're just going to print and you're going to grow, and nothing is ever going to be more debt and value than the land and resources of your country, which is kind of dangerous. So I think we're seeing a gridlock Washington with the two schools are unable to control the other. One is we're just going to print and bring out deficits. Look, we have to go back to Clinton to find a president that came closest to having a balanced budget. And when you hear about balanced budget amendment, what that means is the government spends on defense and ships and bombs and national parks and all the stuff that we do and jails and prisons and all that. What they spent was exactly what came in from income taxes, corporate taxes, and tariffs and other supplemental taxes that we have. The taxes that came in, they spent. It's been since the Clinton administration where we were even freaking close to a balanced budget. So we are spending.
Can I give my opinion on this? So, Tom, he's asking for solutions. So can we do anything about this?
So right there, I just wanted to play that right there. The fact that we're in so much debt as a nation overrides everything else. Right? There's no way we can get out of that debt. What did Tom say? We need a reset. We need to figure out a way to reset this, because we're gonna just keep printing money until what? You know what I mean? Like now we got inflation is out of control. Now we got to do all this other kind of stuff. So man, and what's up, brother Marcus in the house? What's good, Devil Dog? You know what I mean? What's good with you, man? I'll let you start with that, man. I'll let you start. But first of all, we know, just everybody bow your heads.
Hey! This is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine.
I want you to feel comfortable there, Marine.
Appreciate that. Shout out to y'all, man. Happy late Thanksgiving.
Same to you, brother.
Yeah, I like this topic because I saw y'all guys were covering certain things out, and candidates and people that are in positions of running certain things in certain states and governing the body. So I think it's important to talk about these issues. I don't think we're ever going to get out of debt anytime, at least in my lifetime, and if I have children, my children's lifetime. I don't think that's going to happen. And like the guy said, I think before anything gets better at all, something far worse is going to happen, in my opinion. Because that's just that's the tip of the domino effect. So
right.
You know, there was a guy that you highlighted from the political people that you had. Who's that one guy? The one you said that he'll just be a guy that wants to take care of just keeping his seat in power. What's the name of that guy? You
got Josh Hawley.
Yeah, was he the guy? Was he the same guy who was talking to that professor about the trans rights and how he just asked a question and the professor said that's inciting violence? Was that the same Josh Hawley?
That's him.
Yeah. And see that's why I wanted to bring it up, because no matter what, the pendulum has swung to where now that these so-called people in positions of power, now they have to cater to the pandering left, which is the liberal side. If you see it now in media, you see it in marketing. Now the whether you're conservative or you're Republican, you know, just like the comment I made before, and I guess you guys brushed it up on the beginning of the podcast, in the stream, people's insatiable thirst for hate is what led to them voting for an opposition just because they couldn't stand how this guy sounded and talked. First of all, say what you want about Trump. That motherfucker was hilarious. He entertained the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. And the fact that women still cheered on him after he said grab him by the coochie, man, they still loved him. I mean, obviously there were women that hated him, but the women that were still chanting for him, and I'm not gonna lie, when he said the whole like, yeah, we're gonna build a wall, it's gonna go from California all the way to Texas. You know what Tijuana did? They made Tijuana great again hats just to troll him in Tijuana. So, you know,
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. When it comes to Trump, my biggest, like I've said this before, and I've said it a million times more. My biggest problem with Trump is he's a draft dodger, bro. That's my biggest problem with Trump.
Yeah.
He does not care about men and women, you know what I mean, who serve this country. He does not care. Now, he'll pander to whoever, right? But when it was time for him to go to Vietnam, he wouldn't go. And the thing that really gets me with him is the way he would talk about John McCain. You know what I mean? The way he would refer to the World War I vets when he was over there. You know what I mean? Like that. I was like, I don't care. I'm through with this dude. As far as being entertained by a president, I don't want my president to be funny. I don't want my CEO to be funny, right? Because when it's time to go down range, y'all know what it is. I want to make sure you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? There's a difference between being a buffoon and a clown and just being a leader who's out there making it, you know, understands the dark humor that goes along with, you know, with the territory and what we do. But again, like I said, I tell people all the time, we're military men right here. That don't mean we got to agree on everything. We speak our piece. But I tell you what, if Brother Marcus needs me, if Brother Mandrell needs me, I'm there. You know what I mean? Even though Brother Marcus is a Marine, we just have to pray first before I get there. Right. But brother,
holla.
Oh yeah, it is holla holla holla. Where would they put that button there? You know what I mean? Y'all know you're just I'm there, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, Brother Mandrell, what's your take on that? The Trump stuff and everything else, brother.
Oh yeah. About the financial reset, yeah, because there's no getting out of it. But that's also why we're not getting a reset. You see, the thing is, this is supposedly a free nation, but freedom depends on your choice to be. Freedom depends on your ability to choose. But if you shack up with debt, you don't have the ability to choose. You know what I'm saying? A healthy, educated, and confident nation is much harder to govern because they're healthy, confident, and educated. You can't pull the wool over their eyes so easy. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to govern a dummy. Easy to control an idiot. You know what I'm saying? And the whole Trump stuff, yeah, draft dodger. No, I'm not with it. Talked about John McCain. Fuck you forever. Especially with what he said about John McCain. I mean, this guy went to Vietnam, got shot down, captured. First of all, he survived that. Okay. Second, he was in a Vietnamese prison camp. People have no idea what that's like, but it's a fucking
Hanoi Hilton. Not just any. He was in the Hanoi Hilton.
Right. That place is a fucking nightmare. Okay. And he had the ability, since his father was a big, prominent person, he had the ability to leave and be released. John McCain said, no, okay, I'll go, but you have to release everyone here with me too. They said, no. So, okay, I'm not leaving. As long as they're here, I'll be here too. That is a fucking hero. Yeah. That is a fucking man. You hear me? That is what a man does. That is a fucking man. He had the ability to leave and didn't because he didn't want to lead the other soldiers back with him back there. Stop playing. You said that about him. Yeah, that's what I'm with you, DL. I was like, fuck you, man.
Forever. Here's the thing, y'all.
Forever.
Like, Sears School, to this day, United States Army, they may have changed it since I was in, but Sears School, a lot of that shit was based on the way the Vietnamese treated American soldiers. And Sears School is that's one of the only courses I knew where the Army would give you downtime after. They knew you're going to be suffering some psychological issues after SEER training. And I have no idea what they put you through, Mandrell, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't just regular old Sears School.
It wasn't. Our SEER school was different. Some people say their SEER school is like a week or something like that.
Yes,
I'm like, a week? A week? Like, how old is yours? About 3 weeks, man.
3 weeks
it was
of hell.
longer than a week. But then, yeah, they get you in there and they starve you half to death, beat the shit out of you, literally. You get beat up.
Sleep deprivation.
Sleep deprivation. They do just enough to keep from killing you.
Yeah, they
They
keep
take
you
you to that
cold.
line. They take you right to that line of death, and then they just they bring you back, bruh. And then they get you cold and then splash water on you, and leave you in a fucking freezer. Every couple
Yeah,
hours,
bro.
so they'll open that door. They'll open that door, and you sitting there shivering. They'll pull you out. But I think they open that door just to let air in there to keep you from suffocating. This is just me hypothesizing, right? It's fucked up. It is. And waterboarding, whoever invented that, fuck your mother. Seriously, waterboarding sucks. It's not real torture. Yeah. Yes, it is, though.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. That is. It sucks. So, yeah, man. I mean, nah, Trump ain't the guy.
It's one of those. Yeah, Trump's not the guy. And I'm curious, brother Marcus, man. I would imagine the Marine Corps has the equivalent to some sort of SEER training, like
they come to Army SEER school.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah. It's just like with airborne. It's just like with airborne school. When I was in airborne school, there was Marines there. There's some guys who just graduated from BUDS. You know what I'm saying? They graduate from BUDS and they send them to the Army parachute school. You know what I'm saying? They send them to airborne school over there at Fort Benning.
Yeah, Fort Benning, because you got to understand, like Marines, we don't have like a budget like the Army or the Air Force does, so we have to go to other people's bases, specifically Army bases, to get certain credentials and certifications done. So like they have like for recon, I went to St. Onofre, I went to Oceanside, but then they also shipped us out and sent us to North Carolina to do some other extensive training. But then for your jump wings, you got to go to Fort Benning. For me, the fact that I was able to go to Fort Benning before, get my tank school before I lat moved, and I changed my MOS. So there was like some back and forth here and there and stuff. So, but our training was, recon was recon, but then I just didn't want to go to be a MARSOC Raider because MARSOC Raiders was a whole different issue. A lot of stuff was happening, political stuff, and on the news, they were getting in trouble. So I stayed at recon.
I ain't mad at you, but it's not a big jump, bro. Like I said, that's some horse shit, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Shout out to you. As a guy who lived, you know what I mean? Like, I flirted with that world. I know what it's like, man. Like, MARSOC Marines, holy shit. But just recon alone. I mean, Marine Sniper Scouts, like all that, bro. Shout out to the Marine Corps, man. Y'all, there's some hardcore shit going on in there.
And I appreciate the Army having us take their chicks and get their checks.
There you go. Remind me to tell you my joke about the hat. I ain't gonna do it in front of everybody, but remind me to tell you a joke about that.
Oh wow!
I got a joke. I got a joke for you, bro. Because I'm telling you, you're either gonna hug me or you're gonna punch me. It's gonna be one or the other. But I'm ready for both. So, brother Timmy's in the house. What's good, brother Timothy? He's talking about Trump on the economy. Trump was good. You know what? Here's the thing. I'm gonna do a show when I'm gonna break down like the 5 top things that the Trump administration did right and the 5 things that Trump administration did wrong. And I want to do that for going back to Bush, going back to the first Bush, just so people get an idea of what's going on. And Brother Dino, don't forget what George W. Bush said about Rambo John Kerry. What I do remember about Bush and Kerry is, because Kerry was a swift boat guy. Kerry killed for his country, was shot for his country. You know what I mean? The man, that was a real warrior. Same thing. He didn't have to go to Vietnam. He did not. Came from a wealthy family. He could have stayed home. He could have got a bone spur just like Trump, but he didn't. He went. And not only did he go, he went out there and he was in them damn boats, doing what he had to do, probably in the Mekong Delta somewhere. But George W. Bush said, "I wish I had John Kerry's record." I remember that distinctly. It was after one of the debates or something like that. It was during that election campaign. And I remember that George W. Bush said that. And I had nothing but the highest respect for W, because he understood. He got it. He was like, that man went. I didn't. Now, Bush did join. He was a pilot. He was in the reserves or Air Guard or whatever he was in. But even he acknowledged that, Kerry was out there, downrange getting some. So I've always respected W for that. Any thoughts from you fellas?
It was respectable. You know what I'm saying? It showed that Bush actually had a sense of honor. And respect. You know, because it's just like you said. Yeah, he was flying around in planes in the air reserve or whatever, but John Kerry's in that swift boat getting some. Ain't nothing like that.
Getting some. Nothing like that. Trust me.
Hey, listen. Ain't nothing like it.
Get some.
Right.
Get
Ain't
some,
nothing
baby.
like getting some.
And there's one thing to be out.
Just like your boy in your little club. Get some. Get some.
Get some. Get some.
And here's the thing, y'all. It's one thing when you on solid land, you got cover, you got concealment. Bro, you on a boat. Them boats don't stop bullets. You know what I mean? They're shooting 7.62 millimeter at your ass. Them bullets, that goes right through that like a rock through paper. You know what I mean? So, bro, I got nothing but the highest respect. Same thing for those aviators, man. Those airplanes don't have any armor. Rounds go right through it.
And people, that's because people think that those some of the stuff is bulletproof. They're like, well, why don't they make it bulletproof? You got the money for that?
You got the money for that? No. Right, how heavy that airplane gonna be? You gonna a bulletproof boat?
Exactly.
It's called a Swift. It's called a Swift boat. It has to be fast. Man, oh man. So that's yeah. And there was another brother Timothy said something about Joe Biden. I wanted to highlight, and I think I did. Yeah. Sleepy Joe destroyed the American. He did. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I'm gonna do the same thing with Biden. We're gonna highlight the stuff he did right and the stuff that he did wrong. He did inherit a lot of stuff from the previous administration. That's how it works. You know what I mean? But he's not making some great moves right now, y'all. He's just not. But I want to get in there and find out what he's done good and what I think he's done bad. We're gonna wrap this up, fellas. We're coming up on the last 15 minutes. Is there anything y'all wanted to talk about before we wrap this up?
Oh, real quick, rest in peace to the late Jason David Frank. It's a tragedy. News about him.
And that was the Power Ranger, correct?
The original Ranger.
The original Green
Tommy.
Ranger. The original Green Ranger. Yep.
I'm going to cover that on I Really Want to Know podcast. We're going to be talking about that. You know, it's far too many guys out here self-deleting over relationships, and we're going to definitely talk about that. It doesn't have any standing on this platform when it comes to politics. I think that's just right outside of what we want to do. There was one thing I did want to highlight. I think Miss AKA Lady asked a question about, here it is right here. Miss AKA Lady, do you think other countries sell us products that keeps us inactive as a long-term plan to weaken our military? Like, how else can you weaken our military? Who wants to take a shot at that?
I think one of the things is, well, several is, one of them is pharmaceuticals. So a lot of the opiates, all the drugs they put into this country that they buy, they make multi-billions a year annually. That definitely can take a hinder and a weakness on the mental illness or mental ruggedness that happens to a military service member, armed forces member. That can affect them a lot. The food too. We gotta be careful on what we put in our food. That could definitely make you more docile too. Careful on the estrogen, the soy and stuff. It's bad enough that our factories here have to do it, but when they're importing certain things from outside places, inside here, just doesn't help.
Right. And I would say this, and now I'll let Brother Mandrell go. As far as outside entities, it's really hard to do damage to America. Like America destroys itself from the inside. Like we eat our young. Like you look at like what Brother Marcus is saying about our food. You know, our food is lethal. The stuff that we put out there to our public is lethal. We don't care because people are making money on it. It's sugars in everything we eat. When you look at, like, as far as people sending stuff to this country, I don't see that. But here's the thing. There are countries that will not accept American products, food products, because they're like, it's poison.
Yep.
Right. And the only country that I think is really at war with us, so to speak, is China. They definitely play the long game. They believe in the art of warfare and you know what I mean, and the tactics of Sun Tzu. So, yeah. But the thing in China is they've committed so much money to America that it hurts them. If America were to collapse tomorrow, you know what I mean, China would collapse right along with us. So they're tied in so tightly to us that our future dictates their future. So, but that's the only nation I can think of that has any ability to really, you know, hurt us as far as sending stuff in and affecting our culture and stuff like that. They've even stopped sending their children over here to get education because our university system is so jacked up. You know what I mean? So that's my take on it. Brother Mandrell, what's your take?
Oh, which part? Do they? Yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing: in the UK, they don't sell what you call that Mountain Dew because it's got so much caffeine and sugar in it. It's considered an energy drink.
Yeah, or
They don't sell
American
Mountain Dew
ketchup.
over there. Like, yeah, right. It's got too much sugar in American ketchup.
Yep.
And that's why food tastes so differently when you're in other countries. Like, it doesn't have the added sugar and syrup. High fructose corn syrup they put it in everything here. You know what I'm saying? And they use high fructose corn syrup to fatten up bulls. And
Americans
they use it here as a sweetener. Yeah, and they use it here in America as a sweetener. So if it fattens up bulls, what do you think it's going to do to you? You're a human being. Of course, it's going to make you fat. And here's where it came from. Remember back in the early 80s, this is big fat. It's fat free. It's fat free. This food is fat free. It's to get you healthy. You know what I'm saying? Remember that deal when everything started going fat free and low fat and stuff like that? Yeah.
Yep.
They did take the fat out. They didn't lie about that. However, the problem is when you take fat out of stuff. The problem is you take the fat out of stuff, it tastes disgusting. So to make it taste better, they added sugar. But sugar does then they discover, wait, why don't you just use the corn syrup? It's cheaper and it's sweeter. So it doesn't take as much corn syrup to sweeten things as it does sugar. So it's cheaper, it's sweeter. Eat it at your leisure. But just know that you're gonna get fat.
And that's what we feed our children. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're gonna go to final thoughts here in a second. I just wanted, Brother Dino, we were talking about Bush. Like the Bush political TV ads at the time destroyed Kerry's servers using vets against him. And that wasn't, because you go on to talk about that. That was the swift boaters that swift boated Kerry. But Kerry repeatedly had urged Bush to denounce the swift boat Veterans for Truth attacks, saying they are lies. I do remember that. But again, I remember all that going back and forth. But I will never forget when as Bush said, "I wish I had his record," and that's just the one thing I will never ever forget. It was like, I wish I had their record. But yeah, I think that this was a good show, fellas. I appreciate y'all coming up and to the first ever Downrange podcast. Final thoughts. We'll start with Brother Marcus.
Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all having me up here in the panel. Shout out to you, DL Saint, as always. Mandrell, of course. And a salute to y'all. Make sure y'all be safe in these holidays. Times are crazy. You make sure you make the best choice, the best vote. That, if that relates to your policies, make sure you base it off policies. Also, a lot of respect to these gentlemen here. Make sure you hit the link, like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Hit the Cash App for DL Saint, I Really Want to Know podcast. And also make sure you show support to Mandrell. Catch him on Unapologetic with Shoo Mandrell, Wednesdays, 8:30 Central Standard Time on BMU. And that's
what's up. That's what's up, fam. Look at you. Acting like you done did that before or something, man. Thanks for coming up, bro. I really appreciate all the support, man. And like I said, all that stuff I was saying, man, I ain't lying, man. I respect the hell out of your service, bro, what you did for this country, and the fact that you're still willing and able to stand there and toe the line if needed, man. So thank you so much, bro. And I'll talk to you later, man. Peace.
Likewise. Peace.
Brother Mandrell, final thoughts.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me here, DL. I always have a good time when I'm on your show. Always. I hope your show grows. I hope your channel grows, man. I hope you have 1 million. I hope people get to another lockdown. and you get your channel to 1 million subscribers like everybody, like all the others did back then.
I hope so.
Really boosted. Yeah, that's what really boosted a lot of people's channels. The pandemic did, but. Yeah, fantastic show, man. I mean, we should have more conversations like this more often. And we had a really good audience tonight. I think the chat was kind of on fire tonight.
Absolutely. We were small, but we were mighty, bro. And and we're gonna keep doing it at least once a week. I'm doing a Downrange podcast, which is gonna be politics every week until the election hits. And then as we get closer, we'll probably do more, of course, during the week. But yes, bro, I want to make people as informed as I possibly can, man. And I got you. You're always my go-to, man. I'm gonna call my favorite Green Beret up because I know it's gonna be hot.
Yeah, but I like talking politics too, man. I do, and I think more people should do more of it. And again, thanks for having me here, everybody. Buckle down. Get ready.
You know what I mean?
Next year is coming.
It's coming. Oh, yes, it's coming. I would normally say plug yourself, but Brother Marcus did all that for you, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He did, man. And y'all on tomorrow, right?
Yeah. Wait, no, tomorrow's Saturday.
Oh, my bad. I'm all mixed up. My bad. Yeah, tomorrow's Saturday. So we won't see you next week.
The weekend got us all discombobulated.
You doing the barbershop tonight? Is Brother Blackman doing that?
I don't know. I think so. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'll give him we'll see. I'll give him a call and see if he's still doing it. You know what I'm saying? See if he's doing barbershop. Yeah, if he is, I'll give you a shot. I'll give you a shot. Yeah, we're doing the barbershop. Or nah. One of the two.
Let me know, bro. So thanks for coming over here and rocking out the very first episode, man. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. You know what I mean? I'll holler at you. I'll probably holler at you tonight.
All right. Later.
Peace. And there you have it. As far as my final thoughts, hey, all I got to say is thank y'all for being here. This is the first Downrange podcast, and we're going to continue to rock it out. We're going to come over here and we're going to talk about politics once a week. Like I said, I'm coming away from the I Really Want to Know podcast because y'all know we're everywhere over there. Here is going to be strictly politics. That's it. So be on the lookout. We're going to do some shows. We're going to go do some research and find out who was doing what. The next show I'll probably do is going to be a show on feminism. I just want to know what it is. The feminist movement started out as a human rights movement, an equal rights movement. One of the earliest supporters of the feminist movement was Frederick Douglass. I didn't know that until I started doing some research. So we're going to be talking about that. And I look forward to that episode. I look forward to seeing y'all there. It's going to be good times. As always, thank you so much to all my day ones. Brother Michael was in here. Thank you so much. Miss AKA Lady was in here. And yes, congrats on the expansion. Thank you. I'm going to keep, I'm going to keep pushing forward. Brother Dinosaur was in the house. Thank you so much. Like I said, Brother Michael, Sister Tia was in the house. Brother Timothy was in the house, man. And man, you made some good points and some real points. I'm going to do some shows so we can see the good and the bad from all these political, from all of these administrations, Republican and Democrat. Yeah, man, thank you so much, man. Again, special shout out to Brother Marcus, my favorite devil dog, and of course, my favorite Green Beret in the whole wide world, Brother Mandrell. So that's it, y'all. I'm DL Saint, and this is the Downrange Podcast. So we'll see y'all again soon. Be easy. Peace.